Welcome to another episode of the Grappling with Life podcast. And today we are joined live in the flesh by brother Akil Bilal. MashaAllah, welcome.
Jazakallah khair.
I can't believe you're in person.
Yeah, man.
Live.
Yeah.
It's funny, subhanAllah. Like one of the unexpected benefits of starting this is I didn't really, when I first started off this podcast, I didn't really think about, okay, you're going to meet all these new people. I just thought I was going to do it with a couple of friends. And alhamdulillah, I got to meet so many good brothers and like unexpectedly. I never thought I'd do a podcast from from Cape Verde and you come in and mashallah, after this, we can do a workshop. So alhamdulillah, this was a very good opportunity and it's good to see you. But let's start off with, obviously you flew into Birmingham.
Yeah.
Your first day.
Man, it was cold.
It was cold.
It is cold.
It is cold, exactly.
Yeah,
and what's your experience so far of being in the UK? You've been before, haven't you?
Yeah, many times.
Right.
Many times in the past. But I just left 28 degrees. And then I came, it was 4.
So explain to us what 28 degrees is like. Because 28 degrees here, it was what was it like in the summer? 28, 30, isn't it?
Yeah.
We were dying.
Yeah, but see, Cape Verde is an island and it's very, very windy.
Right.
It's known for its wind. It's one of the best places in the world for kite surfing. And right now is kite surfing season. So even when it's 28, you got such a nice breeze that you don't really, it's warm, but you don't feel it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's worse here.
So like midday.
Yeah.
Is there people walking around and going about their business, or is it more like in Algeria? There's a lot of time. It kind of midday kind of dies down a little bit, and then kind of.
Well, we're so close to the equator that our the time is pretty stable. The
Right.
sunrise and sunsets around the same time every day.
Alhamdulillah.
It's just not a big gap like when I was in Holland, where you do 19 hours of fasting in Ramadan.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to Ramadan this year here, or
Alhamdulillah.
in Cape Verde. Yeah.
So what time is sunset over there?
Now it's right at 7.
And what's the latest it gets by this time?
The summertime, it gets not too much later than that, man. Maybe about 7:30.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what time is Fajr?
5:30.
So every day?
5:45 in the masjid, yeah.
Yeah, so...
It gets a little bit earlier, like 5, but they normally play about between 5:20 and 5:45 year round.
So we're in the same time zone at the moment, aren't we?
You guys are 1 hour ahead.
Ahead, right.
Yeah,
Okay, interesting. Because Fajr right now is at 5 o'clock, isn't it? 5-ish. But is the mic on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Sorry, can you turn this down a little bit? Please. You see the dirty looks he's giving me?
I didn't say anything.
Did you see the dirty looks?
Is this your mic? Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it mine? You tell me.
That's better.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Is that yours?
Yeah. No, that was Aqil's one.
This one. Is this one yours?
No, this one's mine.
Okay.
Go up. Stop. No, down. Down, that's it. That's perfect, bro. Aqil, is your one all right?
Yeah, it's good.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so, alhamdulillah. So lifestyle-wise, talk us a bit through the lifestyle, because you've been teasing us with videos on WhatsApp.
Yeah, you know what it is, man. As I get older, I just want something more simple and simple, easy. Sometimes there's no onions on the island. It is what it is. You just got to go without it. But man, I went to the stores here. It's like, man, I'm just overwhelmed with how many choices you have here. It's crazy.
So talk to us about since you mentioned food.
Yeah.
So breakfast, lunch, dinner, what kind of stuff like traditionally you'd eat?
Man, for me, I keep it simple. Just like eggs in the morning, some toast or something like that. I do a lot of fasting, so intermittent fasting. So sometimes I'll wait till lunchtime to eat.
Okay.
But
no coffee?
Yeah, I gotta have coffee.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
I gotta have the coffee every day. But other than that, lifestyle wise is really nice because it's warm and it's a holiday destination. So most people are happy all the time. So people are always in a good mood. People are happy, friendly, and the locals are very receptive to, foreigners. So they
Right.
speak a lot of languages there, a lot of Italian, Portuguese, French, Spanish. So, you got to learn some languages while you're there, which I'm trying to learn, but it's hard.
What's the kind of national language like? If
Portuguese.
So even like government buildings and stuff.
Portuguese. Yeah, it was a
Right.
Portuguese colony. But you have a lot of Italians there who came back in the 70s to do like more infrastructure type of thing. And then they started to buy up the real estate. So you have a lot of Italians there, a lot of Portuguese, Spanish, French, and a lot of just general European tourists. that come.
Have you been around the island? You said it's an island, right? Yeah. So
There's 10 islands.
Right. So which island are you on?
And I'm on the island of Sal, and I've never been to any other island yet.
But have you been around the whole island?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
how long does it take to kind of, if you was to
do, when I have friends and family that come visit, we usually do a tour for about 4 hours. We can hit everything.
Right, the whole island, yeah?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, if we started around 10 o'clock in the morning, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we're done. We've done everything. I mean, there's more you can do, but you can do a day tour and just finish the island.
Is that the main island where all the government buildings are and stuff and post office? And...
No. So Praia is the capital, and that's in another island called Santiago. I'm on Sal, but we're the biggest touristic island.
Right.
So it's a lot of money that flows through there. The other islands are very green, more mountainous, more farming, more simple lifestyle. People don't really speak much English. You don't have much commerce there.
Right.
Sal is the place. I mean,
but when you fly into Sal or you fly into Santiago?
I fly into Sal straight because we have an international airport there.
Okay.
So, yeah. It's they have the most pristine beaches, right? So that's where everyone comes. It all depends on the airline. Sometimes we feel very isolated because, well, I mean, we're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, bro. There's nothing out there.
So you've got Africa on the west of you, right?
Yep.
No, is it west or east?
Yep.
Yeah, west. And then the east is just Atlantic Ocean all the way to America.
Ocean. But we're so close. So we're only about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 30 minutes away from Senegal. It's 500 kilometers.
By flight or by boat?
By flight. Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't get the hurricanes and things like that. I think we talked about that before.
Yeah.
So we don't really get those type of storms that you would get like in the Bahamas or places like that.
Right.
Because it doesn't have the space it doesn't have the distance to build up. Those storms have to build up over time. So, we don't get that type of weather. It gets a little, bumpy sometimes, but nothing like a hurricane. So the weather's nice.
Beautiful.
I would say probably 350 days a year, sunshine. Simple food, seafood, lots of seafood. The tuna's fresh, bro. Fresh. I think we get a kilo of tuna for about 5.5 euros a kilo. And in Holland, it's about 35 euros.
There's a kind of tuna here. I know that.
Bro.
How much is a
Kind of tuna? It's
No.
like £5 or something, bro. The small ones.
Not the small ones. Small ones are about £3 something.
No, in a pack.
No, the pack's about £5-6.
Yeah, bro. That's but
£4 5 pounds.
Doesn't hold anything, bro.
Yeah, so you're looking at what one is about 200 grams.
Oh my God. No, man. We go and get.
Hey, listen, we need to start doing some like a Scarface thing, innit? But with tuna. like the club, just drop it over.
No, man, we go to the pier when the fishermen come around 11 o'clock.
Because tuna's huge, isn't it?
It's like big fish. We just go, they cut it up, and you just take it home and cook it right there.
Wow. So what kind of dish do you make with tuna?
Man,
Was it grill it or?
Yeah, just grill. Grill with some vegetables and rice, bro. Keep it real simple.
That's so nice, man.
You eat that at least 3-4 times a week.
Serious?
Yeah, I do.
And what about chicken and meat and stuff?
You can get chicken, you can get beef. There's some Senegalese brothers there who have halal meat.
Yeah.
Most of the chicken on the island is halal because they have the halal farms there. But yeah.
Free range.
Yeah, free range.
And the eggs must be like amazing.
Everything. I was telling you, we went to I noticed when I'm here, like there are no marks on the fruit, on the vegetables. Everything is perfect. Big, huge oranges there. You know you're getting real fruit.
Yeah.
Because there's a little brown here, little cuts here. On.
There's an actual company that they sell. I think some big chains do it. They call them Wonky vegetables. So it's the vegetables that are not perfect.
Damaged, yeah.
Not even damaged. It's just
a square banana.
like like a green, like a tomato that's not completely round. They said got a bump there, or like a silly things that you just buy from like normally. Yeah, but. Yeah. It's weird now. Like you got the opposite is true now, which is the wonky vegetables are the ones that are.
That's crazy because
the exception.
They're the fruit and vegetables. They just they go bad so quickly. So you don't buy a lot. You just buy a few because in a couple of days the oranges are already going bad. So you're getting real food.
So oranges and stuff. Do they grow on the island as well, or they bring
on
them
the
in?
other islands? Right. On the other islands, yeah.
What's the kind of main fruit of the island, like in the sense of what they're known
Papaya.
For? Right.
Papaya and mango, man. Every day.
Wow.
Every day. You gotta have papaya and mango every day. Yeah. And bananas. People grow them there. And now there's a lot of green projects coming up. People are I imagine Sal will probably be pretty much self-sufficient in the next 20 years.
Right.
Or they don't have to really import much. Because there are people there doing some green projects, man, growing their own food. See, it was a colony. And that colonization of still depending on Portugal to import all the food and things like that is still there. So, there's a whole political.
So there's a still thing between Portugal and Cape Verde, yeah?
Well, they've still got the monopoly on.
It's like Algeria and France, but the same kind of.
Everything's coming in from France, right? Yeah. So
I just read today that France has 2,500 tons or 25,000 tons. I can't remember exactly. I'm gonna get crucified on the thing, bro. But of gold reserves, yeah, but doesn't have any mines.
Oh yeah.
So, but I think they were talking about Senegal or Cameroon. I think it's Cameroon. Last year they mined 75 tons of gold. And don't have any reserves. So when people talk about why are they coming over to Europe and all this stuff, yeah. Like, do you see the hypocrisy and these migrants that are coming over, all the Africans and that are coming over on boats and dying to get to Europe, that wouldn't even exist if they were allowed to kind of keep their own resources. Like, I know Haiti as well. Haiti's got this massive, like
Guyana as well.
Is it Guyana?
Yeah.
So didn't Haiti have this? They owed France. So when they got independence, I think France slapped them with a massive debt that they're still paying, and that's what ruined the whole infrastructure and stuff. So it's kind of like, because Africa, again, beautiful continent. Every continent's got its own flavor. It's got all the resources but Europe has got its fingers in there till this day, but they're playing it like they're not really.
I mean, that can't last forever.
Yeah.
That can't. I think people are waking up now. People are really, at some point, I mean, Africa is definitely going to be the center of the world because it has so much, I was talking to a brother from Guinea-Bissau and he was showing me videos, and you can literally just dig a hole with your hand, drop a seed, and watch it grow.
It's fertile.
It's just that fertile. Especially even the islands where we are, because they're volcanic. So obviously there's a lot of minerals in the soil, and they just grow. Anything grows.
It's palm.
Yeah.
So you've got a volcano on the island? Was it just volcano?
No, I think that was
dormant.
Yeah.
It's been dormant for like
I'm
guessing millennia.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting, man.
Yeah, but those islands are they're volcanic islands.
So your so to just take it quickly on your kind of so you mentioned to us you got a boat, which is quite cool.
Yeah, we've got a fishing boat. We do fishing tours there. So people can hire our boat for half day or full day trips. And people just want to relax on the holidays, and we take them out and they get to see dolphins, whales, turtles, stuff like that. If you don't get seasick, because a lot of people, they get seasick. You know, I invite them and then they go, nah, I get sick. You know, but yeah, if you can handle the waves.
But you get the tablets now, isn't it? And
yeah, you can get the tablets, but yeah, being on the water is nothing like it, man. It's nothing like being out there on the water. It's just so calm and relaxing.
So what made you decide? How long you had this boat for?
About 4 years now.
Okay.
4 years.
So what made you decide?
It sat 2 years dormant during the COVID. You know, they shut it down, and then my captain was from another island, so he went back, and and then, man, one thing about a boat, the salt and the sun will eat it alive if it just sits around. So we had another year of just refurbishing it, getting it back, repainted. And we had a crazy incident where we almost lost the boat. The waves got really big. The water got into the boat. It started to sink, and the anchor snapped because it really wasn't tied down, or I forgot what happened. I think the rope was too short.
So it was too tight.
People on the island got together, man, to save our boat. We were in Holland. We had no idea. And they told us about it, but when we got there, they said, man, you have no idea how much you almost lost your boat.
So while you were away, oblivious to all of this happening.
The people got together, the fishermen and the other people that came together, got the boat, towed it to the other side of the island, into a bay where we keep, when the weather gets bad, we take everyone takes their boats on the other side of the island where it's protected from the waves, and they towed it around, and then we had to repair it. So yeah,
people here won't even accept a parcel for you, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing, man.
Yeah, they took care of it, man. So we're really, really, really thankful for that. Yeah, alhamdulillah.
So talk to us a little bit about why you decided to get a boat. Why not anything else?
You know what, man?
Is it something that you've always wanted to do, or
no? My wife was basically raised on a boat. Her father built his own boat by hand, and she spent a lot of time on the water. So she wanted a boat. So we had an opportunity to get one. Met a really cool local guy. Became friends with him. Seemed very trustworthy. Turned out to be very trustworthy, and he takes care of our boat. He's a fisherman, local guy. Everyone.
So you pay him a wage, and then he
takes care of the boat. We worked out a nice percentage for him and for us, and we've got a mechanic for the boat, and we've got people that advertise it. We put it on like fishingbooking.com, those type of places. Yeah. Now the interesting thing is you got people from the Scandinavian countries. They love to fish.
Right.
So Finnish, Norwegians, they come in the middle of the winter. They come there and they hire the boat.
So midwinter for them, or midwinter for you guys?
Winter for them, yeah. December,
did you get winter in Cape Verde?
It lasted for about 3 weeks. A couple of weeks ago, it was pretty cool. It got down. It was kind of cool, but it only lasted a few weeks.
What temperature are we looking at?
Man, it got
you're gonna make him upset now, bro. No, he's gonna say it was 23 degrees.
No, it got down. It did get down to around 12, 13.
Well, that's like summertime here.
Everyone was freezing. We were walking around with jackets, complaining, but it's all good.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so it's just 2 seasons, summer and winter.
Yeah. It's warm. We're just so close to the equator, man. It's just, and it's tropical, so you just don't have the winter.
You know, like when I talk to people like yourself who've traveled and like you've had to kind of change your life multiple times.
Multiple times,
uproot and just move.
Yeah.
Where for me, I've been in one area all my life and something like that. Because my parents, obviously, they've come over here. Like when subhanAllah, a few years ago, I think I was speaking to my kids, and it kind of, I was speaking to them. I was like, can you imagine your granddad? He left his home country, came over to the UK, doesn't speak a lick of English, and had to start his life from scratch. You guys are a result of, despite everything was Qadr Allah, obviously,
yes.
but you're a result of that. You understand? Like
Yeah.
20, 30 years later, or 30 something years later,
Yeah.
21 years later, whatever it is. And I just think, can you imagine doing that yourself? Then I put myself in his shoes, like, and I was like, if I, for example, went to Cape Verde and had to start from scratch, what would I do? You know, so like,
Yeah.
I'm always intrigued. That's why I ask you these like very specific
Right,
questions, because in my head, I'm like, I'm just trying to picture it.
Brother, I've learned one thing. If you want an interesting life, reinvent yourself many times. Reinvent yourself, man. Like, at some point, I look back, I say, wow, I'm 52. I've lived in 5 different countries. Every time I start from zero. Every time I started from zero, subhanAllah. And it helps you, you have to have faith. I mean, you have to have faith, man. You have to say, you know, here I am, you know.
Can I ask why?
Why did I move?
Yeah, why? Because you could have easily stayed in America, you know. That's you were born, brought up, you got roots there. And then, okay, then you moved again. I think did you say you moved to Qatar?
No, man, I went, the first time I went to Bahrain.
Bahrain. So you could have stayed there, but you didn't. And then, I'm sure there was reasons why.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm asking this is, like, I don't really want to put words in your mouth because I just want to hear it, you know, straight. So why did you decide to kind of?
Man, I think, you know, I reflected on this a lot, man. And I really wanted to know for myself, like, where did I get this desire to travel? And it all came down, I think, in my mind. I have a cousin who was a bodyguard. And he was a bodyguard for one of these popular boy bands back in the 80s. And he used to travel a lot and come back and tell us stories about, you know, the Philippines and all these different places. And I had no idea where these places were. And I used to look them up all the time. Back then we had the encyclopedia, right? And it was just intriguing, man. I wanted to move, I wanted to travel. And as I think what's kept me overseas is the people that I meet. You meet so many interesting people. I mean, I would never meet a person from Lithuania or Malta or wherever. And then once I get into the martial arts scene, you know, you just meet people from all over. But why?
Because there's two reasons sometimes. Yeah. There's people that are escaping something, or there's people that are drawn by something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's. I mean,
I didn't feel comfortable in the States when my daughter was 2 years old. I saw the way things were going in terms of how they were basically just coming after the kids, you know, with all the propaganda way back then. And we decided to make a move, man. I wanted to be in a Muslim country. I wanted to learn Arabic. I wanted to visit Mecca. I wanted to be close to Mecca. I wanted to see the world, man. And so I just did it. It wasn't like I contemplated too much. It was just like, man, just do it. Yeah, just do it. I don't even think about it.
So your daughter was brought up in Bahrain?
Yeah. My daughter was 2 when we got there. My son was actually born there.
Okay.
And they lived in their first, 18 years of their lives there. They went elementary school, high school. Yeah.
So you gave them a good base,
good education. I wanted to raise my kids in a more conservative environment. We didn't have a television growing up. I just kept them fed with books. I joke with my son. He doesn't even remember, I don't think, but he didn't have a PlayStation. All his friends had PlayStations, but I used to buy him the games. So he had a stack of games, but he didn't have the actual console to play the game. But he would go over to his friends, but I knew he was coming back, right? So,
that's a chess move right there, man.
Yeah, that was what I
was just trying to think. Yeah, that's a chess move, man.
Yeah. I gave him the game. I bought him the games. He could have all the games he wanted.
You can't say to you, I'm left out or something. Yeah, you can't say
Well,
that.
he was the cool guy on the block because he had all the games, right? So everyone was inviting him over, to come play. So little things like that, but it was really just as an African American, man, given my kids that experience, both of them have thanked me for that. Alhamdulillah. So
that's beautiful, man. And do you feel like, again, I can't speak to the African American experience in America, obviously, and we only see it secondhand we only see the worst parts of it, right? Like, because we don't have that experience. But do you feel like when you took yourself out of America, like the pressure that you felt as a black person in America, do you see a difference in your kids in the way they move and they think?
Oh yeah. They are definitely global citizens. They can connect with people on a different level. I think both of them feel when they go back home that you almost have to contain the things that you talk about once you've traveled and you come back home and you sit with your family who's maybe gone to Cancun, Mexico, for spring break or something like that, but it's being an international traveler like that. It's hard to connect sometimes with your family and friends who haven't been anywhere. It's that simple. So you just meet friends from all over the world. And my kids,
are they back in America now?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, my daughter is, yes. She's studying. She's in a PhD program right now. Alhamdulillah. And my son's coming back to Cape Verde with me. He came to visit. He loved it. He's coming back to stay to help grow the business.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, he's a personal trainer now. He did his personal training course, and he's super fit, purple belt jiu-jitsu, little ninja martial artist. He's been into it all his life. So
how old is he?
He's 25.
25, mashallah.
Yeah, he's 25. Yeah, man. So I'm trying to build something.
Bring him here, inshallah, next time, innit?
Yeah, he'll come, man. He'll come, man. He's a poet. He's a chess player.
What's his name?
Usama.
Next time.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see you here,
inshallah. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. So it'd be good to have your son obviously around and
yeah, absolutely. I think he feels more comfortable there. He feels more comfortable in an environment where people that look different than him and have have similar experiences, have been different places. In America, it's and I can't speak for everyone, but our African American experience in the South is different. It's not like living in California where you have a multicultural environment. Pretty much in the South, in certain places, especially where I come from,
So you're from Louisiana, right?
I'm from North Carolina.
And what state is that?
It's
Carolina.
You have North Carolina, South Carolina.
That's the state.
Yeah, North Carolina is the state.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I'm from a place called Greensboro, North Carolina, which is I think the third largest city in the state.
Is New Orleans near what you are?
No, that's further south.
Further south.
Yeah,
okay. So that's deep south, isn't it? The bayou
south.
And all that.
That's what we call the dirty south.
You guys have the accent.
But I've lost my accent.
The twang.
Because I've been away so long, but it comes back quickly when I sit around my cousins and stuff. Man, it comes back. Or if I get on the phone with somebody, from my area, it comes out. But I lost it. And plus, I was an English teacher for many years. So I kind of had to clean up my English a bit, and slow it down for, when you travel, you have to speak slowly, clearly. But yeah.
That's cool, man. And I'm guessing it was very... there's a lot of. Did you grow up in the suburbs? Not suburbs. In a rural area. Again, this is me being like a.
I grew up
not well-traveled guy.
I grew up in the housing projects in the hood.
So the city.
In the hood,
right?
Yeah, in the hood. I grew up in the hood, man, and my father was able to get us out of the hood and put us in the suburbs.
So what's the suburbs like in North Carolina?
Well, I didn't grow up in the suburbs of North Carolina. I grew up.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, he moved us to another state, a place called Ohio.
Yeah,
I lived in Ohio, a place called Cincinnati, Ohio. If you ever heard of that place?
Yeah, of course.
It's cold like this. Midwest. They call it the
Midwest, yeah.
Midwest.
I've been watching this program called Yellowstone. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
It's like a cowboy kind of, and it's based in was it Montana?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Montana.
Yeah.
Is that near Ohio?
No.
Sorry, bro.
America's big. America's big, man.
But is it like the Midwest meaning? So you know when they talk about the frontier and all that stuff, yeah.
That's Montana.
Right.
Wyoming.
So Ohio is kind of below it, like.
No, if you go,
Zach, bring up a map, please, bro, if you can.
bring up the map. The map.
Because I'm looking like a proper like British colonizer over there.
It's all good. It's all good.
The red coats. To technically have a red coat.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
All right, cool. So Montana's near the border, innit, of Canada, right?
Yeah, Montana's way up there.
Okay.
In the middle.
So Cleveland, so LeBron and all those guys, that's where
Ohio.
Cleveland, Ohio, right?
So go back. You see those lakes up there in the right hand corner there?
Okay.
So Ohio's around in there.
All right, zoom in, Zach. Zoom in more.
Go down a little bit.
Well, I can't see anything, bro. Zach, can you see?
Go down more.
It is Green Bay, Milwaukee.
No, I'm on the other side of the lake there. Ohio. Now come straight down. And you'll find Ohio.
Michigan.
Okay, right next. Yeah.
So Michigan is like Detroit and all those places.
Yeah. It's cold up there. Come down a little bit more. You're almost in Canada, man. Yeah, Ohio's right in there.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Scroll out a little bit.
So from there,
we are. Okay.
So right. I'm from North Carolina, which is all the way down on the East Coast.
Where New York is, but down.
Yeah, on the East Coast. And
East is the other side. Yeah?
There you go. That's North Carolina. Yeah. So
and where's New York?
New York is straight up. Yeah.
Okay.
Up there.
That's deceitful because that's probably about a plane journey to get there, isn't it? How far is North?
2 hours, a little bit over 2 hours from North Carolina to New York by
to drive?
plane.
By plane, right.
By driving, it's about 10 hours.
Okay.
10 hours.
Okay, that's not too bad. It's like between here and Scotland, bro.
Yeah.
Like the tip of Scotland.
Yeah.
But look how big America is.
That's
bro.
massive, bro.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
You probably never even went to the other side, have you?
No. California. Yeah.
So you went
a long time ago. You know, the funny thing was I played tennis, right? So I started to play tennis when I was 9 years old. My mom got me in a tennis program. They had a program that they were recruiting young sort of urban kids to play tennis.
In California?
No, this was in North Carolina when I was about 9 years old. So I met my tennis coach. I did a summer camp for 1 week and he thought I was pretty good. And, he convinced my mom to let me, continue to do it. And I became pretty good. I actually was a nationally ranked junior tennis player. So with that team, as a young boy, I traveled a lot to play tournaments. So I was very, very fortunate because people in my neighborhood didn't get a chance to do that. But I did get a chance to travel the country to play tennis. So I did get it. And that's another thing that kind of sparked me to be a traveler because I saw a lot of stuff when I was younger, just within the States. So, yeah.
So that was the first time you actually started.
Yeah.
The bug kind of hit you from there.
I think so.
Makes sense.
I think so. Yeah. I think so.
So proper, because I watched the Serena Williams film with Will Smith.
Good movie, man.
It's very interesting.
I haven't seen it.
It's actually quite interesting.
I heard
man.
it was good.
Yeah, it's very good, man. And and he talks about obviously like he trained them in like it was Crenshaw, isn't it?
Yeah.
California, bro. Like, there was like a tennis court in Crenshaw, and he was out there, and he had a whole
gunshots.
All sorts of stuff. And then like he had to fend off gang members and all this stuff. So. But to kind of make it for like the story is just amazing, man.
Well, I remember, our team was made up of some African-American young kids, and we used to travel to play these tournaments, and our parents didn't have a lot of money. A couple of kids on our team, their father was like a pharmacist or father was a doctor, but we didn't have that kind of money.
Right.
But alhamdulillah, I was a good athlete. So I remember one time, and I always tell this story, man. I remember one time I had to play in this tournament. My mother couldn't afford like the Fila, Nike.
Right.
And man, she bought a pair of Fila socks She cut the embroidery off and sewed it on my shorts.
Oh wow!
Right, sewed it on my shorts, man. And I went out and won the tournament, got the big trophy, man. Had my Filas on, man. Like, but that's how we did it. You know what I'm saying? That's how we did it.
That whole adage of we ain't got McDonald's, we got McDonald's at home, and then.
But you know what? And the funny thing is, I actually played tennis not against, but in the same tournaments as Andre Agassi.
No way.
Yeah.
So the similar age.
Same age, same age brackets. We played some of the same tournaments together. I never actually played against him, but we knew each other when we were kids.
Did you have wild hairstyles back then as well?
Yeah, I remember back then he was the first kid to wear Air Jordans on the tennis court.
Wow.
The ones that you see now, the black and red ones, those are the original Air Jordans.
The Jordan 1s.
He used to wear those on the tennis court because he had bad ankles. So he but
tie him up.
But kids like that, the father was rich. He had his own tennis court at home, his own
did he?
His own court. Yeah. He lived in Las Vegas.
Because he was Iranian, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think he's got an Iranian or Armenian. What was it?
Yeah, Irani, yeah.
Is he Iranian, yeah? Yeah, Persian. Yeah.
But his parents had money.
I think his dad was a doctor or something.
He had his own tennis court, his own personal coach, so he had the money. We didn't have that.
Because tennis was
still is.
Yeah, still is like very a middle class took out.
Back then it was almost, you just didn't find African Americans playing. But we had a little team. So we would go around and play, and a few of us got scholarships to play tennis and things like that. But it was interesting. And that was another way for me to be exposed to a different type of people. Early on, to be able to accept people and to be accepted, you know what I mean, at an early age. So I didn't really see the whole color thing like maybe some of my friends did in our urban environment, you know what I mean? So
I used to teach as well, just like yourself, and I used to work with young offenders and guys that are just about to get into trouble. So like it's like so we used to do courses for them, and I had to do some research basically on like the social environment and what's affecting these kids. Even though we grew up in the same areas as them, I wanted to do like an academic study. I looked at different studies.
Okay.
And there was a study made. It was done across the world. So it was kids between the ages of 13 and 16. They took like a sample group in America, Japan, India. I think UK was one, Holland. So they took kids and they tracked them throughout. And they kind of looked at, number one, what is the skills that they're lacking? So the kind of soft skills that they're lacking, number one. Number two is, what were the factors, the barriers that were stopping them to kind of achieve academic success or like even just work and all that stuff? And what you just said right now just reminded me of like a very a snippet that stuck in my head. It was a big report, but this stuck in my head. It said that if a young person, for example, meets with, so in their whole life, in that period, has interaction 4 interactions with someone who is A, has a job, like a career, B, who is someone who's well-rounded and like a conversation. We're not just talking like Caesar. They have an interaction. They've got some sort of relationship with that person, right? So they just need 4 interactions. They're 70% more likely to be employed than someone who's never. Wow. So then that resonated with me, because if you think about, if you grow up in, like, for example, to use like the hood, for example, your neighbor probably doesn't work or unemployed or whatever. Imagine like your everyone around, your friends, their parents are not, the most affluent, and now that's your frame of reference, that's what you kind of go into the world with. That's what your belief system is, because that's what you've seen, right? Now, imagine you take one of those kids now.
Can I stop you for a second? I want to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, of course. Don't worry. that's what that look was.
I was like, man, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Go.
I think I've been drinking too much, bro.
Zach, you ready?
Yeah.
Did you pause it?
No.
Okay, khalas. Yeah. So basically,
I'll cut it out later.
yeah, that piece of the study, it says if you meet 4 people who've got like, you know, a job or who are successful, or even an athlete or anyone like that who's traveled, who's done these things, you're 70% more likely to be employed after you finish university or school, whatever it is. So subhanAllah, and even things like, for example, like in London, you'd be surprised. London is tiny compared to, you know, states in America. And when I was, a lot of the kids, in London, there's different, I don't know if you know this, but there's different boroughs.
Right.
So you're staying in Tottenham, I think you are, yeah? So that's Haringey Borough, we're in Hackney Borough. So it's like in America, you've got New York, they've got the different...
Brooklyn.
That's it. Is this boroughs, right?
Harlem,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
The Bronx.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
So a lot of the kids that I was teaching, they're from Tower Hamlets Borough, yeah? They don't even leave Tower Hamlets.
Yeah.
So they're just in that area. Some of the guys, most of their life. So imagine you're in London, they've never seen Big Ben. They've never seen the London Bridge. They've never gone to, they've just in their estate. So that's subhanAllah, just traveling. So what we used to do, we used to take them on the tube. They never used the tube. Didn't have to.
Yeah.
Take them on the tube. We used to do like this little activity where we'd give them 15 different destinations across London.
Okay.
And they had to go and visit themselves. We'd give them money, like a travel card, and then money for food, and say, you got to be back here in 2 hours, visit as many destinations as possible.
Oh, that's nice.
And then they'd go around, and you know what? When they get back, it's like we turned on the light. This is like a completely different thing. So your experiences doing this, really, I can see the benefit of it.
Absolutely.
Even though it wasn't really planned out for you like that, but it kind of, you had these opportunities. And
but you know what? My dad, he put me in this, he moved us into this school district intentionally. In the school, I think I told you this before, it was maybe 5% Black.
Oh, okay.
And most of the kids, I think it was like a 70% Jewish school.
Right.
So doctors, lawyers, politician kids, those type of people. But because I was a tennis player and those type of kids played tennis, that's who I was around. So they would invite me to their house. They would take me out, or, you know, birthday parties and things like that. So
you're like the Huxtables, man.
So it was one of those things where I just got invited a lot to these type of, events.
What was it like?
I never felt, man, to be honest with you, my best friend in middle school and high school was a Jewish guy. His family took me in like a son. And they really treated me nicely. The father was an eye doctor. The mother was a housewife. And all of the 5 kids they all became very materially successful. But just really, really nice people. You know what I mean? Really nice people. And so I had that experience. And also my dad was just like, man, don't be the dumb Black kid in the school. So you got to study hard. So it was just one of those things, man, where I just grew up in that environment.
So your dad pushed you, mashallah.
Yeah, academically, he pushed me. He pushed me a lot.
So what did you see? What was it? Just to kind of end on this, because we want to get into the whole mobility stuff and jiu-jitsu and stuff. What was the difference between the school district that you were in? I know it's probably night and day, but for you as a kid, what was the kind of immediate standout thing for you when you moved schools?
Man, I went to 3 different high schools in 4 years. So, we moved to different places. And I was always a new kid on the block. But it was just being the new kid all the time. So you always got to make new friends. You always have to be polite. You don't know anyone. You don't know the problems that people have. Everyone's trying to be your friend because you're new. You're the new kid, So it was always that type of environment for me. You know what I mean? So I think, again, that's carried on to my adult life, so I can really make friends really easily.
Blend in.
Yeah, just.
Man's telling me he's gone to Tottenham, was it? that Caribbean place.
Peppers and spice.
Like, you know, like he's coming, he's flew into Birmingham, took a coach down here, boom, it's like second nature, man.
Yeah.
Mashallah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is for everyone, but I think for the older guys that are training, whether it's jiu-jitsu, judo, whatever grappling sport, even like striking, something of obviously a lot of us at the gym are getting on a little bit, yeah. And obviously we got you coming in about an hour or so to do a mobility seminar. Well, we kind of start talking a bit about longevity in training and like how you should train and what you should what you should do to kind of prolong, firstly reduce injury, and prolong your training, you know, till like, you know, till the grave, man, hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, well, it all comes down to being smart, man, you know, and really having a program. When I talk to people all the time, they train jiu-jitsu, okay, but it's not structured. They just show up, they just go beast mode, and then they're sore for a couple of days, you know, then they come back and they do it again and again and again. And in between that, they go to the gym, they do some squats, they do some deadlifts, some bench press, but it's not structured. So they're always hurt. They're always in pain. You know, I just run into it all the time, man. So hopefully by me spreading the word, the little bit of knowledge I have about this, to teach people how to train smarter. You know, it's like if your body, you take a pill and you need 40% of that pill to help you, but we keep taking 2 or 3 pills. We only need, you got to get it right. You just need enough. You don't need to do more than you know, you want to get the minimum effective dose. And that's what we're missing in jiu-jitsu. We don't have off seasons like baseball. They play for, you know, 6 months and they're off for, or they play 7 months and then they're off for whatever. We don't have that in jiu-jitsu and combat sports. We just go. So hopefully I can try to help people with structuring their own personal training, particularly mobility training, because it's the joints that are going to suffer the most. The more you load the joints, the more they're going to suffer. Just that simple, man. So
like what would you say, looking back at your own journey with training, how have you evolved in regards to that? Like, talk us to how you started and when that transition start for you?
You know, you can watch social media, man, and just pick up, or YouTube, and just pick up exercises. Oh, that looks cool. Let me do that. Oh, that looks cool. Let me do that. You got all these influencers and people and athletes and professional athletes doing these cool things with the battle ropes and all that stuff. And it's good. But the one question we never ask ourselves is, are our joints capable to handle the load? You know, and right now, with this mobility training and this knowledge, we can now self-assess. You know, we can assess ourselves. I can say, oh, my shoulder is not feeling good today in internal rotation. Let me do some exercises and stretches to make sure that my shoulder is capable before I go out and play 6 games of volleyball on the beach. You know, so it's really, I've evolved in not, more is not better.
Right.
You know, more is not better. You know, we're taught, you know, no pain, no gain. And it's just, I'm the guy that slows you down. It's just that simple. You know?
So where does the mobility sit in? So if you're training, whether you're a hobbyist or, you know, you're training, I guess you're competing, or, so where does mobility? So you got your technical training, which is the classes.
Mm-hmm.
You got your rolling.
Yep.
Or sparring.
Yep.
Yeah. You have your strength training.
Yep.
Where does mobility sit in that?
Mobility training is strength training.
Right.
So when we think of strength training, we're thinking, let's do squats, let's do deadlifts, let's do overhead press to make the muscles stronger.
Yeah.
Right? Those muscles are attached to the joints. They're attached by connective tissue. ligaments, and tendons. That's the stuff that mobility training strengthens. So imagine if you go to your in range and then you start to train, because most of our day is spent in the mid range because that's where we're the strongest. But when you go to your in range, that's when you become weaker. That's where you need to train, because that's where the injury is going to happen.
So give me an example of, for example, a shoulder exercise. Where would be the end range for that?
Just take your arm up to the absolute end range and start working from there.
So like military presses or something like that.
Well, we break the joints down into we break the joints down into their actions. Right. So for example, every joint has a rotational and a linear part. This is internal rotation and external rotation of the shoulder, but you also have linear flexion, extension, and those type of things. So we want to take each part, see how it moves, and then strengthen that part. So for example, if you want to go in the end range, get some dumbbells. You want to impress me, as we talked about before, go to the end range and start working from there. Can you touch the dumbbells, together at the end range? So that's kind of how.
Right. Okay. So again, like where would that fit in? So if you look at your week,
you know how to superset. You know what supersetting is?
I know it is. I've done it before, but
so supersetting is when you take two exercises and you do them back to back without any rest, right? So you do, say for example, you do some squats and then you turn around and do some lunges. So instead of doing those two type of exercises, you can do a set of squats and then a set of mobility exercises instead. That way you can integrate it into your program like that and save time. So I teach coaches how to do that, or anyone how to do that really. You can also use it in your warm up. Instead of doing, those stretches that we normally do, the normal like yoga type stretches. Yeah. Remove some of those and put some more specific exercises in there that's targeting the connective tissue of your joint.
So maybe we'll bring up some joints up and you can explain to us. Connective tissue. Zach, what joint should we bring up? Shoulder?
Doesn't matter. Shoulder.
Let's bring up, Zach, if you can bring up the shoulder joint. Or the leg or something like that. Actually, leg. Do knee.
Or the hips.
Or hips, yeah. Hips is a big thing. Yeah. So bring up the hips, Zach, please. Okay, which one do you want to see? That one? No, you want to see the one with muscle, right?
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. If you just open it up in a new tab, yeah.
So you see how that joint is moving?
Like a ball. It's a ball joint.
It's a ball and socket. Yeah. Okay, so it's moving in. So a joint is two bones that are moving relative to each other.
Right.
If they don't move well, then you have a deficient joint. So we're just trying to take a step back to make sure that joint is moving properly according to what you need. So if you're an office worker, I probably just need to help you get to a baseline mobility. But if you do more than that, if you're a surfer or something more like a football player or whatever, you need more than the average person. Yeah. So we have to look at what you need, and then we try to get you to a buffer beyond what you need so you don't get hurt. Because most of us are playing right at that level where we're almost we're one step away from getting injured because we're not increasing the capacity in the joint, as we talked about before. So what we do in mobility training is we're trying to build the capacity to keep you away from injury. So in terms of like a hip or a shoulder joint, we just have to get it to the end range and start strengthening it there. You want to be strong at the end.
So talk to us a bit about like some clients that you've worked with. Obviously don't mention their names or what kind of injuries that you've worked through.
Man, I've worked with just an array. I mean, right now I've got clients that are 67 years old, all the way down to teenage athletes, everything in between. Jiu Jitsu guys, yoga teachers, dancers, anyone who moves, they need their joints to work properly. It's just for everybody. I hate that it sounds cliche,
So it's
but
not like someone who's injured. It's not like
No.
rehab. It's prehab.
it is. It's prehab.
Yeah.
It's prehab, but it always ends up being rehab. People
Right.
always come.
They only come to you when they're injured.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be known as the fixer-upper guy.
Right.
I can, but do I like that? No, because everybody comes in when they're hurt,
Prevention is better.
but
than
not
cure.
everybody is going to do what needs to be done to get back to where they need to be. A lot of the rehab programs, unfortunately, as soon as you're hurt, you go to get into a rehab program, they fix you up. Remember, the pressure of an athlete is to get back in the game, right? So as soon as, the athlete's like, I want to go back. Maybe the physio said, man, you need another month. Man, I can't wait another month. I got to get back. I got a competition. I got this. I got that. Okay, go. And then it reoccurs. We're not patient enough to, instead of saying, hey, let me work on my joints to make sure that you can never prevent an injury, right? But we can mitigate. We can reduce the chances of injury. So that's kind of where we are now. The rehab thing, man. And most of the time when people get hurt, they just get them back just enough to get back in the game. Where we try to get them way beyond, like, I want to build that shoulder where it never gets hurt again. A robust joint, not just, okay, he is feeling pretty good. After the pain is gone, that's when you need to start rehabbing. And that's when we think, as soon as the pain is over, how many people I have now, they come to me and they got a bad shoulder, 2-3 weeks to get them out of pain.
You don't see them again.
You don't see them again.
We've got a few guys at the gym.
But I know they'll be back.
Popping out. We get a lot of shoulder getting popped out. Dislocations, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What else? Hip flexor issues. Knee. I remember one guy came for the first lesson. And we're just doing penetration steps. And he went in for a penetration. His knee just went, whoop.
Yep.
Ain't seen him again.
Of course not.
But this guy, I said to him as well in the beginning, because I saw him as the first, I was like, when's the last time you trained? When's the last time you actually done anything rigorous? What job do you do? All these things matter, right? This guy was just, he's a young guy. He's only in his 20s, late mid-20s. But again, for your knee to kind of pop out like that means that your level of activity is quite low. See what I'm saying? Like you're not. He was very sedentary. He does an office job. He's sitting down. Yeah. I know the chair kills your joints, man.
So I was a gym owner.
Yeah.
Right. And they tell you in the gym world, you sign up for a gym, you're supposed to sit down with your trainer. They go over your previous history, previous injuries, do some type of assessment, and then you can start your personal training program or start training. That's in the ideal world. Rarely would you find that anywhere in a combat gym or jiu-jitsu gym. It's like, oh, you want to sign up? Okay, $79 a month. Boom, you pay and you go. Alhamdulillah, I have this knowledge now. I do assessments on people. When people come to me, I don't have to just accept you because you want to train with me. Hey man, let's make an appointment. Let me just see how you move. It won't take that long. Man, your shoulder, it's not, I need to put you on a mobility program. I'm not telling you to not train, but in the background, you're working on your joints as we're moving along. Alhamdulillah, man. All of my students, we just don't have injuries, man.
Alhamdulillah.
It's really rare that we get injuries like that. If something happens, they snap back because they've been training their joints, so they have strong joints. So even myself, I got hurt the other day. It was a freak, but I recovered within a couple of days because I always train my spine. So when I had that injury, my body could respond to it by healing quickly. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you don't have, I think people are scared to do this because this is another task. Oh man, I got work. I got
And also,
this and that.
it's not boring, but it's
No, it's not sexy.
yeah.
You know, it's not cool.
Even strength training is boring, rough. Like
Yeah.
going to the gym, hitting the weights or whatever. It's work.
The best programs are always basic.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
You know, you talk to the best Olympic lifters, man, boring workout, same, monotonous.
Medicine doesn't taste good.
No.
That's the whole thing, isn't it?
No. We don't have patience, man. We live in a really, really quick fix it type of mentality, you know, society where we just think things are supposed to come easy. And if they don't, we just stop.
So, you know, you're traveling now. So what's your kind of regime when you travel?
Bands.
So,
I got
today, did you do it today?
Yep. This morning I got up, I did a quick mobility routine. I did about 15 minutes of band work and I did isometric holds till failure. And then I was done.
What kind of, like planks and stuff like that? Or
I just took the bands and did a bicep curl until I was shaking and I couldn't hold it anymore.
And what does that do?
When you work your biceps and you do, I don't know, what do you do? 5 sets of 10 maybe until you start to feel the burn or you can't do it anymore. What you're doing is you're trying to take your muscle to failure. Is that correct? Before that, the intensity level is not there, right? So you're trying to really take the muscle to failure. Time under tension is what builds hypertrophy. Time under tension is what builds strength, right? If I can get to that point without doing, 500 reps and still get almost the same benefits, why not? Because the idea is to take the muscle to failure. Once it's at failure, that's when the hormonal change happens, and that signals the brain, build some more tissue because it needs to be prepared for the next time it meets that type of intensity. Most of us just don't train at an intensity level high enough to get the hormonal results hormonal response that we need to get. So that's why we're doing like 5 sets of 10, 50 reps when I can just get some bands and hold that thing until I just can't hold it anymore. And I start to fail. I just go to complete failure. I'm done.
Just one set?
1 rep.
1 rep. Okay. Right.
I'm done. It's an internal strength model that we use in the FRS system, the functional range system. Yeah.
Right. And that helps with the joints and all that.
Yeah.
A lot of the times as well, what I find is when I'm doing especially heavyweights, I'm getting elbow pain, shoulder, more the elbow. Right now I've got golfer's elbow, and that's from jiu-jitsu and wrestling and stuff.
Well, see, you were targeting your bicep, but your shoulder and your elbow hurts. Why? Because those are the connections of the bicep. They connect at the shoulder and they connect at the elbow. So you need to start strengthening the connective tissue at the elbow and at the shoulder, and start worrying about how big your biceps are getting, and start working on the connective tissue. That's the difference. Once the connective tissue is strong, then you can pile on as much muscle as you want, but it doesn't work the other way around.
So how do you know how obviously you guys do tests and stuff, and you do like
I have an assessment. I have an assessment, and that's what we're going to do in the workshop today.
Oh, sick.
We're going to teach you guys the basic daily routine of how all the joints are supposed to move through their full ranges of motion, right? And give you some tips and techniques and exercises that you can do to strengthen those joints. And you can run that in the background as you're doing whatever you want to do.
And I got a question for you from Coach Khaled, who you meet today. Yeah. He's got both his hamstrings are blown out. He said, do you know what he said? So he asked, he goes, what would you do if someone doesn't have, literally, his hamstrings, they've just curled up like, so he's a MMA fighter,
right?
Who's fought in the cage and obviously he competes and stuff like that.
Well, again, we always say, where does the hamstring attach? It attaches at the knee and it attaches at the hip.
Yeah.
If I give you more space in your knee and I give you more space in your hip, then your hamstring has space to move. So for a person like him, of course, I would do a complete assessment. But just in general, because I see a lot of football players, I got tight hamstrings.
Yeah, my hamstrings are mad tight. Yeah.
But the minute you start working on your knees and your hips, you'll be surprised how flexible you become.
He's also blown out both his knees. So that could
you go. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So
now when you have those type of traumatic injuries to the tissue, automatically it tightens. It tightens. So, people say, I feel tight, or my hamstrings are tight. Your hamstrings are not tight for no reason. They're tight from the nervous system is keeping them tight for protection, because you haven't convinced your nervous system that you have control. So the nervous system is tight. The reason why you can't lift your leg up but so high is because the nervous system stops it there, because you haven't spent enough time there. The minute you start working at the end range, as we talked about before, the more you work at the end range, you keep knocking on that door. Eventually, the nervous system is convinced that you can produce and absorb force, and it'll give you a little bit more. And then you work in that space. But if you want more space, you got to work at the end range. You don't work at the mid-range expecting to get more space at the end range. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So that's why we call it in-range training.
So it's a software issue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like doing the splits, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You get to a certain
point
and you can't go anymore.
You can't go anywhere because your nervous system you haven't spent enough time there. Now you could have two issues. You could have what we call a mechanical issue, or you could have a neurological issue. Okay. And we treat those two things differently. I don't want to get too technical here, but with that, if you can't move, I have to do a test on you to see, okay, we can bypass that. We can trick the nervous system temporarily to give you more space. And then once we get into that new space, that's when we start to teach the nervous system how to move and how to control. Strength is control. In our world, if you can control something, you're strong.
Right. So give me an example.
Right. So you can take, 7 or 10 kg dumbbells and swing them up, but can you go slow?
Oh, I see.
Can you control it? Because every movement is a degree, right? So are you strong? You're strong here, but are you strong here? Can you control it? Can you hold it? And we need to spend more time isometrically to teach the nervous system likes that, because remember, our cells are recording everything that we do, right? Our cells are just recording everything. So if you haven't spent any time in that space, over time, you will lose the ability to move in that space, because you just haven't convinced your nervous system that you have control there. So we're speaking to our cells, man. We're speaking to our bodies. It's a reflection. It's an internal thing. And once your body is convinced, or your nervous system is convinced that you can control that, it'll give you a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. That's how it works. But if you don't use it, it works in reverse. Oh, you're not going to use it? You're not going to get it.
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
So interesting, man. Because when as you're talking, like I've gone through my own journey of injury too, and I do feel that kind of your brain stopping your limb moving in a specific way. Even things like, for example, when I squat, my hips they sway out.
Yeah, we talked about that last time.
Remember we talked about that, yeah. So I've been doing some of your stuff. And I saw immediate thing. One thing as well that I saw was the breathing. You said you can trick your body. I saw that when I'm stretching, and if I breathe out when I'm stretching, I get more range. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times what people do is this.
Yeah, they hold their
breath. They hold. So you feel like I get more range of motion when I control my breathing as I'm stretching out to the end point.
We don't realize that we are sending signals to our brain, right? We have a lot of control over that. Meaning, if I ask you to move your shoulder, But when you move your shoulder, your elbow bends and your wrist and your fingers get involved. That's a lot of noise going into the brain. If I can get you to hold a tennis ball, to take your fingers and your wrists out of the equation, and you can consciously keep that elbow straight and just focus on the shoulder. When you move the shoulder, that's what's being recorded. But when you're moving everything together, that's a lot of noise, if you understand what I mean. So we try to take out all the noise.
It's isolating the signal, isn't it?
Isolating the joint. Because ultimately, the best movers are the ones who can move the joint independently.
It's like those gymnastics guys, you know, the ones on the rings, and you see what they do, and they're able to hold
because they practiced it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the sports that we play, right? The sports that we play, we create these patterns for the sport.
Yeah.
I live on an island. There's a lot of beach volleyball, so a lot of volleyball guys come to me from time to time. Same issue. They can't move their shoulder without moving their spine. Because when they go up, they move the spine automatically. But when I just block out everything and say, move your shoulder, it's like, man, what happened? When I play, I can get there. Yeah, because your body is compensating to get it moves anything. It's like water, you know, that's going down a mountain. It's going to take the least resistant path, right? Same thing with your body. It's going to help get you there. But when I say stop, move your shoulder. Can you move your shoulder there? It's a different story. So then that's where we start. Okay, this is what you can do. Let's start feeding the good afferent information to the body, and it will start to do it automatically. But it takes time. Just like building your bicep. You can't go to the gym once a week and think you're going to get big biceps. Doesn't work that way. It's a consistent program. If you want to improve your mobility, you got to be consistent with it because you're speaking to your nervous system. You got to give your cells time to record the information. Over time, you convince it that you can own it. It'll give it to you. That's the way it works.
It's more of a lifestyle. You have to. It has to be part.
It's a movement practice.
Yeah.
We've been taught this muscle and cardio, and that's fitness. And we forgot completely that all of that comes from the joints first to move. Movement comes from the joints. That's it. Yeah. If I say, okay, what's your if I take all of your muscles and put them in a pile, it's just a pile of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? But the joints are different. You know, so stress your framework. So, you know, if it's an uphill battle for me and those out here that are preaching this gospel, man, of teaching people that you got to slow down and you got to teach your body how to move. We don't move well. We move fast, we move powerful, but we don't move well. And that's where the pain comes in. If you can't move your hip without moving your spine, right? You're gonna have compensations, and compensation leads to pain every time.
Yeah.
Every single time.
I hear that. Definitely, that's my experience. Definitely, man.
So it's just unlearning some things. It's a learning curve to understand your body. They didn't teach us this in school. Personal trainers don't know this stuff. Not to talk bad about them, you know. But they just don't.
It's like doctors. There's doctors that are specialists in kids. There's doctors specialists.
And you know how many doctors I have as clients? They don't know. They study medicine.
Yeah.
No one's ever told them that, you know, the hip has to move, how the hip moves, how the knee rotates. We talked about this before. I'm gonna show you guys in the workshop today. Just, you know, being aware of how your body moves, just that aware, it's an awareness, understanding how. Now, translate over to jiu-jitsu, man, your jiu-jitsu, your wrestling will go to a different level, man. I just feel like I'm not a world champion or anything like that, but in my mind, I feel like I have a big advantage over my opponents because I understand how the body works. So when I teach my students, I don't teach them a kimura. No, I teach them internal rotation. So when they teach us jiu-jitsu, you know, they go, okay, this is the kimura, right? Well, what that is that you're just taking the person to their full internal rotation that they have, and they have to tap. Well, you can get the kimura from here, you can get it from here, you can get it from here. If you understand how the body works, you can get a kimura a whole lot more than what they teach you on YouTube. It doesn't have a name, but they tap. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
And that's what it is. We get so locked into, okay, and we get locked into these movement patterns, like, okay, a lunge, a squat. This is just something that we have created as people, as humans. Okay, what is a squat? It's just something that we've imagined that the body has to be in this position. But what is it? It's just something we've made. It's just a pattern. And when you train in patterns that way, you get good at those patterns, and that's it. But when you step outside of those patterns, the whole world changes, man.
The way the evolution of training as well, like looking at the 80s, it was all about bodybuilding. Go back to the kimura example.
Yeah. If I say get me in a kimura, okay, you pull me in the guard, you get the kimura. But if you really understand what internal rotation is of the shoulder, I say, okay, make me tap from just no more and take me to my in range of my internal rotation. You can do that 100 different ways, but a kimura is this way only. Right. So once you understand that, you start attacking the joints differently as a jiu-jitsu fighter. Right?
So destruction, and so you can use it for
taking it to the in range until they tap.
Yeah.
I don't need a name to make you tap. I don't need those fancy names. I respect it, but I don't need that to get you to tap. You know, I just understand that this is the way the joint works. And if I take it here, you're going to tap.
I think it's a beautiful place we're going to end it.
Yeah, cool.
Because we've got a small Maghreb. But, and I know you've had a full-on few days, in it, traveling and stuff.
Oh man, I'm feeling it, boy.
So we need to do the workshop, get you fed properly with some meat.
Yeah, man.
And then we'll drop you back. It's not a problem, man. So everyone at home, hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did, and we'll see you on the next one.